I think if we could take one thing away from this interview, it's that the girl loves her eggs. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. Today we're going to be taking a look at everything that Florence Pugh eats in a day. But first, let me tell you about my sponsor, Cook Unity. So as a food blogger and cookbook author, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but I'm also a busy mama too and a business owner. So there are a lot of days when I just can't. Sometimes I don't have the inspiration, sometimes I don't have the time, sometimes I don't have the ingredients, and sometimes I just don't have the drive. So when we're down south in the States, we always stock up on some of the creative signature meals from Cook Unity. Cook Unity has over 50 talented chefs from some of the best restaurants in the country, working out of regional micro kitchens instead of massive production facilities, so you feel like you're getting a restaurant meal at home. Basically, you let them know what you like and what you don't like, and you pick a flexible meal plan. So you can get as few as 4 or as many as 16 meals per week. Then you can select from hundreds of meals that align with your preferences and dietary restrictions, including things like vegan, keto, gluten-free, low sodium, and more. And they use all really high quality chef-driven ingredients. The meals are delivered fresh, not frozen, in compostable, recyclable, or reusable packaging, along with expiration dates, heating instructions, and nutrition stats. And then a few days before your delivery, you get a text to make your selections for the next week. It feels like one huge big thing off my plate that I just can't screw up. The red wine braised short ribs by Chef Marc Forgione are amazing, and the menu rotates so often with a wide range of different cultural flavors and preparations, so it really helps to fill the gaps with inspiring fun meals for those nights when things get super hectic. So if you want to try out Cook Unity for yourself, go to cookunity.com/Abby or click the link in my description and use my code Abby50 to get 50% off of your first order of meals. And you can pause the screen or look at the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. As always, feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. And if you are not already subscribed here, hit that subscribe button and follow me over on TikTok and Instagram at Abby's Kitchen. All right, let's see what Florence eats in a day.
First of all, I have to wake up and make myself a tea. I can't have anything before I've had my tea. I have a Yorkshire tea with oat milk, and I tend to leave the bag in. I know lots of people are gonna hate me. And then I put the milk in and I kind of give it a good brew, and that way you get a nice thickness to it. So it's like a bit of a stew.
My own British mom gives me a real hard time for even making tea in a teacup like that and not actually putting it into a proper teapot. It's 2022. I'm of the belief that everyone's morning ritual is sacred. So if Florence likes her tea stewy, I am here for stewy tea.
Morning. 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 Morning.
Usually for brekkie, I'll do at least 2 boiled eggs. They'll be medium to hard boiled, so I'm thinking like 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. I want it to be a little bit gooey, not too gooey, not any runny white, and some salt on the side. And then a black coffee. I'll have a black Americano.
Now, I love me some eggs in the morning, no matter how you slice it, whether it's scrambled, poached, fried, baked, boiled, come one, come all. And one of the things I love about eggs in the morning is that the protein quality helps to improve satiety and keep you feeling fuller for longer. In fact, research shows that a high protein breakfast helps to regulate your appetite throughout the day. And this may be why Florence feels so satisfied from just having 2 eggs in the morning and maybe nothing on the side. However, I do want to note that 2 eggs only really provides around 150 calories. So most of us would probably need more food in the morning to get us through the day. Not to mention, front-loading more of our calories and carbs earlier on in the day does seem to have some hormonal and metabolic benefits as well. Obviously, I get that some folks genuinely just don't have an appetite in the morning. So I would say as long as we're still getting enough calories later on in the day to make up for it, no harm, no foul.
I grab and go sometimes. I'll make a a smoothie, like either a protein banana, like make it jazzy with some leaves and some spinach stuff, or I'll just take a protein bar and have it with my black coffee.
A morning smoothie can definitely be a convenient breakfast when you're on the go and you need something super quick and easy. And in Florence's case, we're getting some protein from what I'm assuming is maybe protein powder, plus some fiber-rich carbs from the banana and spinach stuff. But I would say to really make the smoothie a hunger-crushing combo breakfast, we would also want to see a source of fat in there just to keep her fuller a bit longer. So this could mean adding in some full-fat Greek yogurt, some nut butter, avocado, or seeds like chia, hemp, or flax. As for the protein bar, they usually contain anywhere between 150 to 400 calories, so it may be hit or miss as to whether or not it really helps to keep her full until lunch. Same goes with the smoothie, as liquid calories tend to be digested and absorbed a lot faster. So while a protein bar or a smoothie are definitely practical, quick, grab-and-go breakfast options and may be appropriate for folks who maybe don't have much of an appetite before noon, I would say most of us need more fuel. My solution? Have them both.
I'm a simple breakfast person if I'm working. If I'm not working, then I'll have the lot. I'll usually do what my dad does and make like a half full English. So then I'll do sourdough bread, 2 fried eggs, put the lid on so it goes crispy underneath but cooks the top. And then I'll do some cherry tomatoes in a bowl, pop them with some olive oil, a little bit of balsam, salt, pepper.
So I had to Google what a half full English is, but I guess it's just like shorthand for an English breakfast that requires less commitment. And I love her version. Most full English breakfasts include eggs, plus sausage, plus bacon, plus baked beans. So a lot of saturated fat and salt, and not a lot of veg. Totally fine on occasion, but we can definitely balance it out to work it more into our usual rotation. I love Florence's version because we've got protein and fat in the eggs, carbs and a bit of fiber in the sourdough, healthy fats in the olive oil, and some micronutrients in the cherry tomatoes. I also love the microwave hack to create like a Lazy Girl's balsamic glazed tomatoes and like drenching it with the egg to make almost like a shakshuka style breakfast. So good. I would say if she had an appetite for something like this on the regular, I would absolutely put this into the usual rotation over just like a solo protein bar and black coffee.
Then on my snack, what I'll usually do throughout the day is I'll pop into an M&S or a Pret or a Leon or an Itsu, and I'll get one of their little protein pots because they're amazing. And I'll either get like a little bit of egg. If I want a big lunch, I won't go for the little snack pot. I'll wait until I'm hungry because eating when you're hungry is the best thing ever.
I think if we could take one thing away from this interview, it's that the girl loves her eggs. And I love eggs too. I probably have eggs every day. But I do recommend working in other proteins occasionally just for nutrient diversity. I'll also say that I really appreciate Florence being kind of like one of the only few celebrities that seems to normalize eating when you're hungry. Feeling hunger is a normal, healthy, biological cue that we really want to celebrate, not ignore. We want to feel some hunger before meals because it serves as a good reinforcing piece of data that we're honoring our true needs. When I talk about hunger crushing combos or a food promoting satiety for longer, it's actually to help support food freedom. I really created the hunger crushing combo because I was seeing a lot of folks trying to like subsist on these super small mini meals or snacks all day long, kind of in an effort to keep calories as low as possible. So they might have like an apple for breakfast and like a salad with no fat for lunch. A lot of volume, but without a lot of substance. So of course, we never really get to experience the normal rise and falls of hunger, but we actually want to feel hunger before a meal. We just don't want to feel hunger all the time because it leaves very little room in our brain or our life for thoughts that aren't food related. It can ultimately be very exhausting and triggering for folks with complicated histories with food, hence why I encourage folks to try to eat solid, satisfying meals throughout the day.
The eating process will be either after like an hour of me making it or half an hour of me making it, but I get more excited about designing the thing in my head, executing it, and eating it.
Can we all just agree for a moment that we are all excited about Florence executing her meals here? I mean, the popularity of her Cooking with Flow series during lockdown is evidence of that. And it just goes to show that Florence's relationship with food goes well beyond eating just for sustenance or fuel, but also about experiencing true joy and satisfaction from the sensual experience of food from start to finish.
Typical lunch, I'll probably have like a late lunch. I'll probably do like 3 3, maybe 3:30. So if I'm going for like a small but really energizing salad, I'll go rocket spinach, obviously wash them. Then I'll go finely chopped pepper in like little cubes. And then I'll do cherry tomatoes, like the ones that are on the vine. Obviously take them off the vine, don't put them in the salad. And then I'm gonna do cucumber, loads of cucumber, red onion, and I'm gonna slice it really finely. So that's all going in the bowl. And then I'm gonna do, depending on what mood I'm in, I always like a bit of feta in my salad. So I'm gonna crumble the feta, olive oil, nice olive oil, I'm not cooking olive oil. And then maybe some rice wine vinegar or some white wine vinegar. And then if I'm wanting a bit of spice, I'll chop up a chili.
I love the level of detail that Florence uses to describe her meals. And as for the salad itself, I love that we're getting a variety of colorful veggies here, plus some fat in the cheese and dressing. Now, if this were a whole meal, I would love to see some added protein, maybe some beans, chicken, fish, or even her go-to eggs. Turning it into a hunger-crushing combo will really help to ensure that we can fully satisfy our hunger before we get to that next meal.
My nostalgic food lunch items from when I was younger. My mum was against all of the bad foods that Georgian took into school. We were never allowed the Lunchables. We were never allowed any sweeties. I'd do like a deal with my friend, Chrissy, and she would give me a cheese string, and I hated it, but just kind of like out of rebellion and spite. I remember eating it in the toilet and being like, ha, 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 because I knew that mum would not allow it.
This is a perfect example of the psychological impact of prohibiting foods or categorizing them as bad or forbidden. Ultimately, it just makes us want them even more. And we have evidence of this in children where those who have been restricted of a food will tend to overeat it once they have been given intermittent access. And this is really why we want to talk about foods in neutral language, especially around our children. Unfortunately, a lot of kids who are exposed to diet culture so early on never quite escape. And we know that kids who are typically restricted or put on diets in childhood often end up at risk of disordered eating later on in life. I have a whole video on how to raise an intuitive eater right here if you're looking for some ways to break the cycle of generational dieting.
Depending on if I wanted it for dinner, usually I kind of do this for dinner, but if it's an afternoon snack, I make myself a cheese board. I'll get out a manchego, I'll get out a crumbly cheddar, I'll get out a goat's cheese. It doesn't matter if it's gooey or hard, or even if it has like one of those nice crusts. And then I'll get some nice quince out, I'll get some chutneys out, maybe a bramble and an apple and an onion or whatever. Get all those things out, and I'll make myself a little cheese board with some crackers. And then sometimes I eat that and it's so mega, I don't have dinner. I don't mind, I'll just have more of the cheese.
This girl is speaking my love language, and that love language is cheese. When I was growing up, we used to call this kind of dinner a cold plate dinner, and honestly, it was always like one of our faves. And I think it's actually a pretty solid meal. We got protein and fat from the cheese, some fiber and micronutrients from the fruit, plus some carbs in the crackers. It's easy, it's interactive, and it is super fun and delicious.
I'm gonna get Dad to cook me his famous roast chicken with his potatoes and chorizo and his vegetables.
This meal sounds like pure comfort, and it probably feels just like a warm hug from your dad. We are getting all the works here with the protein and fat from the chicken and chorizo, carbs in the potatoes, and fiber in the veg, plus some gravy for some extra fat and flavor. I also just love the way that Florence describes food. Like, it's sticky, crispy, gooey, energizing. It's not clean or low-cal or low-fat. When we focus on the sensory elements of food rather than external data like calories or portions, we can tune into our true needs and desires and know when these needs have been met.
Oh, I love like a rhubarb tarty thing. I love like something sweet and sour and crispy with a bit of ice cream on the side. But I can kind of go without dessert, which is a shame because I love ice cream, but I'm more about the cheese.
I also love tart rhubarb as well. And in fact, one thing I learned when I honed my intuitive eating skills was that I actually didn't even love sweet things. Like, I used to be obsessed with sweets. I just had such a sweet tooth. I feel like I could eat them until I was sick. But the more opportunities that I gave myself to eat what I actually wanted, the more I realized that a lot of the bad foods that I was binging on wasn't even something that I really wanted. And that just goes to show what can happen when we truly start to invest in learning about our body.
Strange food habits. I tend to put Marmite with a lot of things. Like, I feel like if you're snacking, you can just wipe a bit of Marmite on the plate and anything you chop up with Marmite will taste good. If I don't have anything to dip into peanut butter, I'll chop up a few carrots, and carrots and peanut butter is actually quite nice.
Marmite seems like one of those foods you either love it or you hate it, so sound off in the comments with your thoughts. But speaking from a nutrition perspective, Marmite is actually an excellent source of B vitamins like B12, thiamine, niacin, and riboflavin. And in fact, 1 teaspoon of Marmite provides around 25% of the daily recommendation for B12. So it's a great option for our plant-based folks. As for the carrot and peanut butter combo, I mean, I guess this is not that dissimilar to like the classic ants on a log situation. So honestly, no judgment from me on some of these favorite food combos. I have way weirder food combos that I like.
Best place for food in the world. Greek cuisine. I love the family style essence of it. I love how it's like one pot cooking, the vegetables that they've grown in their garden, and any animal that they use on the menu, they've either grown or they've either sorted out themselves. I love the idea of a very simple salad with a very simple stifado or moussaka or something like that. I really love that it's the grannies in the kitchen cooking and you can taste all of the love and the heaven coming down into that meal.
If this girl was not a successful Academy Award nominated actress, I am quite confident that she would be a food writer, because the way that she romanticizes food is sexy as fuck. And I also have to agree on the Greek food. Like, Greek food is inherently delicious and very well balanced. It's a great example of the Mediterranean diet, which we actually have ample evidence to support for lowering the risk of chronic diseases like metabolic syndrome, heart disease, diabetes, and inflammation. So let's call this diet recall like it is. Probably one of the most supportive examples of a celebrity's diet that Harpers Bazaar has ever published. I think that publications like Harpers Bazaar do have a responsibility to viewers to like screen these interviews and determine if they're problematic or super restrictive, and at the very least, like, issue a trigger warning or disclaimer. So I'm always so jazzed to see a celebrity with a non-diet supportive relationship with food on this platform. And on that note, that's all that I have for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up, leave me a comment below on who or what you'd like to see me review next, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye!